If there is anything we can take from last month's interview with Jonathan Mayberry, writing in multiple genres, even interconnected genres, gives an author a lot more freedom than sticking with a singular source of content. It stretches the creative muscles and the writing skills in ways that force innovation. Our first interview of the month is with a writer who flexes just like that. I'm your host, Garrett K. Jones, and this is the first interview of Author Awareness April. Happy Saturday and welcome back to The Right Way. This is a month that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. The Author Interview Marathon, or AIM for short, is one of my favorite times of the year because it gives me an opportunity to just kick back and enjoy the interviews along with you guys. Now, I've got 4 great interviews this month, but before I get into them, here are some things coming down the pipeline that I think that you should be aware of. Starting with, there will be no top 10 or creative writing videos for this month. Those segments, as well as the live stream, will actually return in May. Second, I will be leading my comedy writing workshop at the Hanford branch of the Kings County Library in just 2 weeks on April 22nd from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The cost is free and all you need to bring is a pen, a notebook, and your funny bone. If you're local to Kings County, come on down. I'd love to see you there. Lastly, as mentioned in last week's episode, if you'd like to get access to each of these interviews in their uncut, unedited, unmodified versions, then I highly encourage you to consider becoming a supporter on Patreon, where you can get access for as little as $1 a month. There are other cool rewards for patrons, including access to an audio recording of one of my short stories that nobody else has access to, and you can sign up at the link down in the video description. So I connected with Eric in 2022, and he helps lead an indie alliance of science fiction and fantasy authors to which I belong. He writes science fiction, fantasy, and horror, and he is great at promoting books for other authors. So please help me welcome E.B. Hunter. Eric, thank you for joining me on the show. It is a pleasure to have you. How you doing?
No, I'm doing really good. Yeah, it's great to be here. Happy to do an interview with you.
All right, so the first question I have is what genre do you write, and what title or titles do you have currently out?
I got a few things. I tend to stick to fantasy, sci-fi, and horror. I guess. I never really planned to be a horror author, but my first published work that I have are all horror. So it just kind of weirdly happened. I had an idea and went with it, but. And then the things that I have coming out or that are out, I guess now, are I've got a Haunt is the name of the anthology. My short stories in there. It's called Graveyard Shift. Just basically about a supernatural being that visits somebody who's working the graveyard shift at a gas station. And then I've got also Beautiful Darkness Volume 1 anthology. I have 2 short stories in there. One called Everglades, which is a little bit about a witch doctor in the Everglades area, and then another one that's called As You Wish, which is about a genie and some deals that go on with that. So yeah, kind of just in that, and those are both with Dragon Soul Press is the name of the company that they're being released with.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Um, so how did you get into writing? Was this something that you've always wanted to do, or is this something that like, you just decide I want to be a writer? How that come about?
Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of been a slow burn, I guess, because I started, getting into fantasy and stuff when I was a teenager, preteen even, and I read Aragon, and when it first came out, whenever that was, a million years ago now, and saw, Christopher Paolini, he wrote that when he was so young, he was I think 14 or something. I thought, hey, like I could do that, I know I'm young, but I could do that, and he's from I think Paradise Valley, Montana, so like kind of a rural area. And I'm like, I'm from a rural area, I could do that. So I just kind of through reading and stuff, just wanting to do that sort of thing, and kind of got into it doing some stuff when I was a teenager, and then it kind of got went on the back burner for a long time, and then last year, I was working from home like a lot of people with COVID, and the world's just crazy right now. So needed a little bit of an escape, and started working on a novel. And
Mhm.
here I am with novel and some short stories going on and a whole bunch of
So where do you draw inspiration from? Because I'm looking at the wall behind you. I'm seeing uh,
stuff.
classic Batman uh, cover. I'm seeing
Yeah,
classic Captain America. Oh, Amazing Spider-Man. I think your head was kind of
yeah.
flopping. That
Spider Man. Yeah.
in DC Comics. Is that an anthology or is that like an encyclopedia?
Oh, that's the poster book. So it's got all the covers over the last 75 years of like the anniversary. So it's got like
Nice.
the classic all the classic covers on there, like the first Green Arrow, Green Lantern with Roy who's doing heroin on it
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I draw a lot of inspiration from comics, obviously, and any sort of just any of that stuff, like that modern mythology, I guess you could call it, with comics, and the TV show Supernatural was
Mhm.
a big influence on my horror writing. I kind of bill it as being like Supernatural before Sam and Dean show up, so it's like this thing going on that could bring in the boys, right? So all that sort of stuff is big inspiration, and just day to day life, really. I mean, um, Everglades, my short story there in Beautiful Darkness. I was folding clothes, and I was folding a tea towel, and was just thinking like, you know, it was a tea towel that my wife had gotten for Mother's Day, and I was kind of like, oh, wouldn't it be like messed up if this was, covered in blood or something? Like, because it's just like it's such a nice thing, right? So to
Yeah.
have it so starkly contrasted, and that's kind of where the story started off with me for that one. So just like everyday things, just kind of pop in, every once in a while, like lightning, and then you run with it. So
Are
yeah.
there any particular titles, whether it's comics, fantasy, horror, that stand out to you as particular inspirations?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, there's so much. I mean, I really like the new 52 run of the Green Lantern comics. I thought those were really good, like Jeff Johns, and like Long Halloween, or even Frank Miller's Daredevil run with Reborn are really great.
Oh yeah.
Um, or Todd McFarlane's run with Spider-Man. I started reading those when I was getting into comics early, and he's from Calgary, so it's kind of a Alberta kid anyway. But yeah, all those are really good. And then like for books, like I read the Bartimus trilogy by Jonathan Stroud.
I love that
Is
series.
really good. It's so good. You're actually, I think, probably the first person I've said that to, and they're like, "Yes, I know what you're talking about."
Have you read the fourth one in that
There's
series?
a fourth one. I didn't
Yeah,
even know there was,
yeah.
so I'm
I
going to be
found it.
reading it.
I found it about 11 years ago, and it's called The Ring of Solomon. And so, like all those references in the trilogy of working for King
Yeah,
Solomon,
yeah.
this is what those references were pointing at. Um,
Oh, okay.
and the trend continues where Bartimaeus is, still doing the footnotes and everything, and there's
Yeah.
a new human companion that he gets to hang out with.
Oh, geez, I need to get on that then. I didn't even know there was a fourth
Yeah,
one. I'll.
it's really well done. I probably like it more than I like the original trilogy because I just
Oh,
it's
really?
yeah because I like that period of history. It's really cool.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's exciting. I add it to the TBR pile, I guess. It's only a mile high. What's the worst adding one more, right? So
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and then I guess the inheritance cycle, or I guess whatever it's called, the that was obviously a big influence. But
Yeah.
recently, I read the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks, and that was really awesome too. So yeah, just influence everywhere. It's all over, right? So
So, what has been one of the hardest parts or the biggest challenges that you've faced in creating your work?
I think time management, maybe just finding the time to do it. I'm sure I'm like most writers where I spend all day wanting to write. Like I'm pretty sure I could write 8 hours a day if given the opportunity. So, but yeah, just I guess keeping things on simmer while I do my normal day to day things, and then I basically have 2 maybe 3 days a week where I can write for an hour after the kids in bed, and that's about it. So I find I've been extremely productive in those hours, but
Mhm.
it can definitely be hard when it's you're looking at 9:30 and you're just starting to write something, right? So
Oh yeah, it
it
can be exhausting.
yeah, it's I guess just that, but it's my passion, so it's not too hard, I guess. But um, that's the biggest thing, and then just going through like everybody with rejections and stuff like that. I think is the thing that kills most people at the beginning, because I mean you hope something's good and you send it out, and when you get a no, it's always painful. But I've come to get used to it. So
Yeah. If you could provide any advice for other would-be authors out there, what would you say to them?
just keep it on, I guess. It's just like when you get a rejection, don't stop, just keep going. If you feel like you can't write that night, it's fine. Write the next time. Just keep doing what you're doing. As long as you're enjoying it, then it's the thing that you should do. If you're not enjoying it, obviously, then maybe pull the plug. But if it's something that you like, just keep doing it, and eventually things will fall into place. And then just take the time to invest in your craft, read some craft books, go and watch Brandon Sanderson's free series on YouTube, where he talks about all this stuff, right? Like, there's so many resources out there for free. Richie Billing is another person who he gives out free books on how to write and stuff like that, right? Like it's all out there. So just work on your craft and just keep going, and don't let the rejections get to you, because everybody gets rejections. So
Awesome. Um, so you also head up an alliance amongst a variety of other indie authors. Is that
yeah. Yeah, it's called the Fantasy and Sci-Fi Writers Alliance, which is very wordy, as I've noticed when I'm typing it out in emails and stuff. Um, so yeah, we're basically just a whole bunch of other authors and people who are looking to publish or haven't published or whatever. Just a hodgepodge of people who want to be writers or are writers,
Mhm.
and just there as a support group for each other with social media, and trying to like share each other's stuff and boost each other up within a community, and just have that support. So when you're feeling like you don't want to pick up the pen or go to the keyboard, you can message people in the community and say, hey, like I want to work on this, but I don't know what to do, or whatever, and you just have that support system there. I think I found early on that it can be kind of lonely being a writer, because you want to talk to you go to talk to your friends or family about it. If they're not writing, or they don't really they're not doing that sort of thing, they don't really have much to say about it. They go okay, or they read something and they go, that was good. You go, okay, good,
Yeah,
awesome.
I've
Good is good, right? But
yeah. Yeah, I've run
yeah,
into that a few times. My when I've talked about what I'm working on with my newest book, and my mom's like, "Well, how many books do you plan on having?" I'm like, "Well, at least 3 or 4 more." And she's like, "But why?" I'm like, "Because there's a story that needs to be told there."
yeah, exactly. But why anything? I don't know, why go to the store and get creamer for your coffee? Why do why go get the mail? I don't know. It just has to happen, right?
Yeah,
It's there, so you do it. So, and I mean, it's creating something like that is just, I don't know, for me anyways, it's exhilarating. So you get to get on a roll, and once the brain gets really going, it's just fun. It's just good to do. So
it's an absolute blast.
Yeah, you get guys like Stephen King or whoever, James Patterson. They write tons and tons and tons of books. So yeah, a couple more in a series ain't gonna hurt.
Awesome. So how can people connect with you? Social media, website, stuff like that, and how can they get a hold of your work?
So Dragon Soul Press is putting out the anthologies Beautiful Darkness and Haunt, with the horror stories that are being published, along with a bunch of other great authors in there as well. And then also I've got some other short stories on my website, and that's basically the best place to reach me with all my other social media and stuff is all on there. So ebhunterauthor.ca. So yeah, just ebhunterauthor.ca is the best spot to reach me on all that stuff.
Awesome. Well, Eric, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you with the group. And it's been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's great.
Now, if you're interested in connecting with Eric through social media or picking up copies of his work, you'll find those links by visiting the video description. Now, if you're interested in seeing the uncut version of the interview, you can easily sign up as a supporter through Patreon. There are support options of $1, $3, and $5 per month, and all patron levels get access to the uncut interviews. But the higher you go, the cooler the rewards. Hey, thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications on new videos. You can support the channel on Patreon and the merch store. Those links can be found down in the video description. Please make sure to tune in next week for the second interview in this year's marathon, featuring Winifred Summer.